What's good, everyone? I'm back today on March 13th, 2026, talking about my market review for the day, how I didn't take any trades, why I didn't take any trades, and I'm gonna just get right into it. Now, for the bias coming into the day, I actually had a mixed bias. I didn't have a clear direction, or I didn't see a clear direction, being we are still in this chop, stuck in this range, and I thought that we were finally out of it. When we started displacing towards these highs, I thought we would get a clean retrace, finally continue higher, but instead we just chopped and now we started chopping lower. So I didn't see a clear sense and direction. So basically, how I decided to play the day was, since there was 10 a.m. news, I always wait for it whenever there's like a red folder 10 a.m. news, something higher impact. I always wait for it. And so that's what I did. I If we were to displace higher, I would have been bullish. If we were to have displaced lower, I would be bearish, depending how the draws look. Now, for sell side draws, I could see this low being taken. And then for buy side draws, I guess just these highs, these highs, these highs. Now, at market open, we ended up displacing higher. And the 10 a.m. candle opened right here. And when this low right here was a 15-minute fair value gap. So what I wanted to see was for us to, we left these highs. This high on ES is the same as this high over here. So that's a good target. And then this data high being an internal high. So what I wanted for us to do was to leave this high and manipulate lower, taking out this low, hitting that 15-minute fair value gap, and getting an immediate 1-minute inversion out of it. The trade would have looked something like this. Would have had my stop loss there. TP here. Maybe I would have put it here, depending how the close was on this. Like if we closed up here or something, I would have probably targeted this just for the RR. But let's say I got an entry there, I would have just targeted this high. Now, we ended up never getting this inversion. And especially after this candle printed like this, rejected it. At this point, I didn't really see the trade happening anymore. But if we were to have immediately closed back above this high, then that would have been an order block. I would have still entered there. I wouldn't have entered right off of this inverse because I would need this order block to be formed since it created that wick. And then that would have looked something like this. But as you can see, that never happened. We never ended up inversing that or creating this order block, and just started displacing lower. And at this point, I honestly wasn't even looking to trade anymore since the price action just looked choppy. It looked unclear, and I didn't really have a bias. I was bullish, but there was nowhere else for me to long from because this 15-minute fair value gap was inverted, and I didn't really want to short just because it did kind of make sense for short since we did reject this hourly gap, but there were no entries for me regardless. There was no pullback. Like I would have needed to take a continuation trade, a pullback into a 5-minute or 15-minute fair value gap. We did have that here, but I just felt like this price action was super choppy. There were no internal targets here. There was an SMT with this low, and we left this high over here. This just, it's a choppy leg. It's not something that I liked. And yeah, wouldn't have gotten an entry anyways just because of that horrible 2-minute close. So for me personally, there was no opportunity today. Now, something that I did realize is that since we are in this sideways range, that is why my trade frequency is so low, because my model requires clear direction, clear trending markets. When we're chopping like this, the draw is never obvious. We always just leave draws and chop around instead of going towards the draw. And we just, like, we don't move in, it doesn't move in like trends towards those areas. Instead, it just goes up, shoots down, shoots up, shoots down, shoots up, shoots down. Meaning I get no retraces, nothing is clear, and there isn't much opportunity for me. Now, I know that I can, if I just wait for us to get out of this higher time frame choppy range, because it will come at some point, that is when my trade frequency will go up. But I should probably start backtesting other things that I can add to my model that can work in these type of conditions. So I don't have these just super long dry periods where I'm getting 2 trades in a month or a trade in a month for 4 months straight. Like, if I'm able to backtest something, find something that like uses the same fundamentals as my model and something that I understand, and it'll maintain, not exactly maintain my win rate, but maintain my win rate to RR ratio, because that is what matters. Uh, why not implement it if it's going to increase my trade frequency? Because increased trade frequency, that's faster you make money. Obviously, I'd rather have a 70% win rate and take a trade every day than have a 70% win rate and take a trade once a week, because that just means you get payouts faster, you make your money faster. So I've I've been backtesting for a while, except what I have been backtesting is just to reinforce the model that I trade already. And now I already know that this model works. I just know that right now it's not like the best time for it. So instead of backtesting just what I already know, I need to start looking for new things that I can implement. So that's what I will start doing. That's what I'm going to do over the weekend. Maybe I can figure out how to predict the moves in this choppy range. Like, it has to be rejecting off of something. It's just something I have to find. Or I guess maybe different entry model, like how I said yesterday. Sometimes I'm pretty good at predicting exactly where the market wants to react off of, like the exact spot. And then I end up not getting an entry with my entry model for some type of reasons. So if I'm able to mechanize that and test it, and then maybe use rejection block entries instead of waiting for that inversion so it doesn't leave without me, that can raise my trade frequency. Because I do see those things happen a lot of the time. But for most of those times, I end up not getting that entry. So, yeah, it's just something I'm going to test. I'm going to test a lot of things. I'm not going to be fully switching my model or anything like that. I'm not doing that because I like this model. I will just try to use the same fundamentals as my model, but maybe add in like a new level that I use, or a different entry model at certain times, but using the same levels that I already use, and basically adding it to my array of models, not completely replacing it. That'll help with my trade frequency, but I'm not going to implement anything if it hurts my win rate, like, or my win rate to RR ratio. I'm not, because that would just be me implementing it out of desperation. But if I'm able to implement it and at the same time keep my statistics, why not? Better trade frequency. Better than sitting on the charts, wasting your time. So that was just a thought. I'm going to look into that over the weekend, put in a lot of time backtesting, and hopefully I come up with some type of results. If I do, I will talk about it in a later video. But for now, that's the end of this week for trading. Took no trades at all this whole week. And that's fine. I'll come back the next week. And yeah, I'll see you guys then.